Good morning. Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Happy Valentine's. It may not be Valentine's for everybody yet, but it is here in Australia. For those of you on the other side of this beautiful planet, happy Valentine's for tomorrow. So as you're coming in this morning, please take a minute to say hello. Let me know who's here, where you're tuning in from. If you would like me to see your name, you do need to give StreamYard permission to do that. And if you don't want to, that's absolutely fine as well. I'll be able to see who's commenting when I go back into Facebook group after. But for now, yes, I'm just going to mute my phone. Today is without doubt one of my favorite things to train, and it is all about good morning, Janet. Happy Valentine's, beautiful. Good morning, Leah. It's lovely to have you here live. It's lovely to see you. So today is all about becoming the woman that you need to be to do and have the things you want. And this gets to be fun. Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, Debbie. Debbie, I hope everything is okay where you are. Dorinda, good morning. Good morning, Leslie. Let us know. I'm imagining if you're on here, obviously you're okay, Debbie. I think I haven't actually tuned into the news, but I know there's been crazy weather events happening for you in New Zealand. So I hope you're okay and family and everybody's okay. Becoming the woman that we get to be, to do and have the things we want to have. Good morning, Judy. So this is such a fun experience, but there's a couple of sides to it. One is there may be some things that you hear that can be triggering. You know, if I say things that are triggering, always stay in a place of curiosity. There's no judgment in this space. There's no right where we is my video just dropped out. I hope it's okay for everybody. Let me know. Let me know it's still okay for you. Gia, I'll keep an eye on Voxer. My video just dropped out, but then it seemed to come back. I think it's okay. So we're going to do this in a few ways. And the first way that I want to guide you is a little bit of that brainstorming stuff. Okay, sounds like I'm back on. Let me know if it's okay for everybody. So it's a little bit of that brainstorming stuff. So what I want you to do first is look at your list of do and haves and just, pull out the top 5. It doesn't have to be all of them, but this is just to get the idea flowing. So let's start with, I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I'm not seeing anything, so I'm presuming everyone can see and hear me okay. Let's start with, if you pull out just the top 4 or 5, write down who do you need to be to make it happen. If it hasn't happened until now, then there's a way of being that you get to step into in order to make these things happen. So give me some examples. What are videos okay now? Thanks, Gia. So if you want to, because it's the how is rarely missing, like there is a lot of things that are going to be on your do and have list that the how, but there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to go, and it is who you are being that is going to make the biggest difference. So think about, let me pull out an example. Where is something, I'm just trying to remember some of the stuff that people have posted. Joining a feminine dance class was one of the ones that came up. We talked about pole dancing, other things. So who will you need to be in order to do that? Because there's likely a part of you that is, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. But So in order to actually book that class and turn up to that class, who do you need to become? Daring, bold, determined, committed, connected to the vision of how that is going to impact your life. What are the other ways of being that you get to step into? So let me know in the comments. Write down one of the things that you want to do or have that you haven't achieved till now. They wouldn't be on your list if you'd already achieved them. And let's look at ways of being that you get to try on, that you get to embody, that you get to step into in a bigger way. It's not that you haven't been courageous in your life until now, but there's a next level of courage that gets to happen. Healthy body, I need to be focused and no longer procrastinate. So having a healthy body means different things to different people. So whether that is losing weight, eating differently, exercising more, who do you need to be to make that happen? You need to get out of procrastination. Procrastination is something I talk a lot about in my masterminds. There is a formula, but in essence, vision is part of it. You've got to be more connected to the outcome. The minute you get stuck in the day-to-day part of it, what am I going to eat right now? If you're stuck in that bit, it won't happen. But if you're super connected to the vision of how you're going to look, how you're going to feel, what you're going to wear, the vitality, the added confidence, the increased love and enjoyment of life, that bit, if you're connected to that, the procrastination gets knocked out of the park. Own business, need courage, fearless, believe in my abilities, imposter syndrome. Fantastic. Thank you, Liz. So starting your own business. Now, what I know without question is that connection, accountability, support is critical with all of these pieces. The minute I've been talking a lot since December about joining this, I had in my awareness the desire to get in the ocean and do cold water swimming, cold water immersion. And I had a girlfriend rang me, Caroline, if you tune into this at any point, and she said, I'm going to do it. And it was that I've been talking about it and thinking about it for about 3 years, but it was like I wasn't connected to the vision and I didn't have the support and accountability I needed. So she rang me and I was like, all right, let's do this. There's no backing out. I've made myself accountable to somebody else. And then I joined a group that go down every morning. And so I've been going most days ever since. So what did it take? Determination. It took courage. There was conversations around, I hate how I look in bathers. And, I've got this thing about forgetting people's names and that feels paralyzing. And if I get down there and people tell me their names and then I forget, I feel rude. And, we all create these stories. It's not like we don't all have them. But who did I need to be to make that happen? So with your business, the thing that made 100% of the difference in my business was stop trying to do it all alone. It is the thing that stops us. So why does a diet like Weight Watchers work? Not because it's great information, in my opinion, but because you have to go and show up. There is that accountability of going and standing on the scales and having somebody that you're accountable to. Good morning, Kim. It's lovely to have you here, or good afternoon for you. We put so much pressure on ourselves, but sometimes pressure is good. Sometimes pressure is good. If we constantly try and take the pressure off, we can get a little stuck as well. So it's knowing where to put the pressure on and where not. If I think about this in terms of sliding into the driver's seat of your life, you are the one in control. You know how much pressure needs to go on the accelerator, how much pressure needs to go on the brake, when it's time to take the pressure off. But sometimes you need a little help to keep the pressure on. Sandra, thank you so much. I'm so glad you've made it live. I'm so glad you made it live. Welcome. So, who are we being? So I hope you've got a few ideas written down. It's great to anchor this into the work that you've already done. Yes, to pressure. So I find that one of the most helpful ways to do this is to look outside ourselves and to look at women who've impacted us in our lives and their way of being and what it is about them that has been particularly magnetizing. Why do you love being around them? So, this may be somebody that you know. It may be a friend. I have friends that I credit with teaching me how to be a friend, and I might come back to that. But also, people you don't know. So it may be people that you follow online, it may be actresses, it may be singers, it may be professionals that have been in your life. I have a particular story. When I left school, I went to, I did a few different things, but I ended up going to a place called and living for 12 months in a place called Cairns, which is in far north Queensland in Australia. And I worked in nightclubs. I had my coyote ugly moment where, for anyone that's seen the movie, and I danced on bars, and this is a story that a lot of people are like, I can't put you in that picture, but yes, I did. And at the end of the day, what I was doing was drinking my way to confidence. It was a very fun atmosphere to be in. I worked in nightclubs and we worked all night and lay in the sun sunbaking. I was brown as a berry and we drank a lot. And it was in that atmosphere, in drinking, that I got my confidence, because I'm actually very introverted. But where did I go with that? When I came back from that 12 months time there, I was very overweight and I was very unhealthy and things had, crumbled. And my mum sent me to see a naturopath. It was my first experience of going to a naturopath. And it was the most impactful experience. For anybody that's been to a naturopath, it is a very different experience than going to a doctor if you go to a good naturopath, because they sit with you, they listen to you, they work with you. It is not just, you're not treated like a car that has a bit that needs tweaking and fixing and just take this pill. And if you found a doctor that treats you differently to that, I am so thankful for you. But when you go to a naturopath, they really to know who you are, how you've got to where you are, and how they can support you. And it was incredibly one of the first times I felt truly seen and heard and not judged. I felt important and like somebody really cared about my well-being. And that was what inspired me to go and study and to become a naturopath. She had such an incredible impact on my life. Sitting in front of somebody that sees you, that hears you, that doesn't judge you, that cares, is extraordinary, and it is quite rare. Would you agree with me? I'm wondering if you would agree with me. A lady with a past. I've got a lot in my past. We all do, and we get to share these stories because it's fun to know where people have come from and what they've done. But it is rare, isn't it? It's rare to be in front of somebody that you feel they're genuinely listening. They're genuinely interested. They genuinely care. They're not coming at you with, I've got all the answers. It's like, let's work together to see if we can't get you where you want to be. It's gold. She painted that picture for me for the first time, and I must have been in my mid-20s. She painted that picture for me for the first time where I genuinely received it. And it was like, that is who I want to become. That is how I want other people to feel when they're around me. So who has been that person in your life? Wow, 100% drinking to fit in. Yeah, me in my 20s. I'm lucky to have a GP that cares and takes her time. Yeah, well, I haven't found that in my community here. So they're rare. Just as having people in your life that make you feel that way. So why am I talking about this? Because it is these ways of being that are life-changing, not only for you to experience it, but life-changing for you to embody that so that you can have a ripple effect on the people around you. I had a beautiful coaching call with one of my clients yesterday. Monica, hello, darling. If you tune in, I know you're working at the moment, but you'll tune in later, I know. We were talking about the effect that we want to have on the people around us through our way of being. Now, there is that high vibration way of being. You all know when you're around people that vibrate. We're all energy. We're 100% energy. That is what makes us human. Anything that is alive has energy. So we either bubble at this beautifully high vibration, and when we're in that state of love and joy, that impacts everybody around us. You know when you're around people like this because you want to be around them more because they make you feel better. So how do we get that into you and your way of being to get that vibration up? So it is all a part of a deliberate choice in a way of being. Equally, we know that when you're around people who are buzzing at a low vibration, they bring you down to their level. Now, there are times when fear, sadness, grief, anger, anxiety, these are all emotions. We all have all emotions, and we are supposed to have all emotions. This ridiculous idea that we're all going to be 100% happy all the time is just setting people up to feel like failures. Fitness and health. Yeah, Sandra, it's so important to be around people that are examples of who we want to become. So it is about being aware and really stepping into who we want to become for ourselves. And that then allows us to send that ripple effect out into the world around us. So I talked a lot about, and this is one of those things that unfailingly has a trigger reaction for some people, but I've got 2 daughters and 2 sons. And in my mind, I want to be the woman I want my daughters to become, and I want to be the woman I want my sons to marry. Does that mean I want them to have that carbon copy of me? No. What that means is that I want my daughters to understand what it looks like to be 100% responsible for your own health and happiness and not giving that power to other people. I want them to see what it looks like to be courageous, to be bold, to be daring, to be authentic, to be unapologetic. And I want my sons to marry women who understand that they are responsible for their own lives. They're not leaning on my sons to make their lives better. And equally, I don't want my sons to be leaning on other people to make their lives better. They are responsible for that. So for those of you that have children, it's like, who is the woman that you want your children to either, that role modeling for your daughters to become and your sons to marry? And I think that is, we are really good at doing things for other people. We find it much easier and a much easier picture to see than when we are just doing it for us. So I had a very tumultuous, unhappy, miserable teenage years and schooling, and a mother who has issues with friendships and connection and always has. And so I didn't have that picture. I didn't know how to be a good friend. And because I was so self-absorbed and so miserable and so turned in on everything that was no good, that I wanted somebody else to fix me. I wanted somebody else to give me permission to be who I thought I wanted to be. I wanted other people to tell me I was okay, rather than working out how to believe that I was okay for myself. So it wasn't until I had children and I met an extraordinary couple of women in my life that they role modeled for me who I wanted to be. And it's difficult to talk about. You know, it's not an easy thing to talk about, in feeling like you have no friends, like feeling like you belong nowhere. And no matter how much you try to fit in, it doesn't work. It's not an easy thing to talk about. And so I talk about it because I don't think that I'm the only person who's experienced this at different times. And part of what I share and why I share the stories that I do is so the women who've experienced similar things don't feel like it's just them. And so the women that I have in my life now are all extraordinary friends. I call them my no filter friends. And it's just a small handful of women. And we have been through unbelievable highs and reasons to celebrate. And we have been through unbelievable lows, divorces, all sorts of issues with children and careers and financial upsets and all the messiness. And they are there every step of the way. And you don't, you know, it is that precious way of being. But I needed to learn how to become a good friend. So when you think about the people in your life that make you feel better about yourself, what is their way of being that you so love? And conversely, who are the people in your life that unfailingly make your vibration low, make you feel bad about yourself, bring you down? Those people inevitably, unless you are equipped with the right intentions and the strength and the understanding of who you want to be as a woman in the world, can pull you off course into becoming a person you don't want to be. I'm sure everybody has experienced this. So my first husband was that person for me. I am responsible. Please understand, when I'm talking about this, the first years post our separation, I blamed him for everything. I put all the power in his hands and made him responsible for how I showed up. And I can remember, yeah, I hear you, Leah. So making other people responsible for how you show up is giving your power away. The very definition of being an empowered woman is holding on to that responsibility for yourself. So there were different points. Both my mother and my first husband both have very narcissistic tendencies, and it is that ability to just completely derail you and pull you off course and make you somebody you don't want to be, that you get to decide whether you need to close the door on those relationships. And there are times when that is absolutely necessary, but it is your responsibility to take responsibility for what you need in order to be the woman you want to be. Now, I love looking at actresses and role models in my external life that I have never met that also give me a picture of who I want to be. So if you can bring to mind women that when they're on the screen, or, you know, if it's been somebody that you've met in personal life, when you're in that space and you can't look away and you just want to be in their orbit and never leave, who are they? And what is that way of being? So there's a few people that always come to mind for me, and there's bits that I take from different women. So one of them is Brene Brown. I've talked about her a few times. If I could just walk through life with Brene Brown and soak up her beautiful, her strength, her wisdom, her compassion, her courage, I would just love to soak all that up like a sponge. And so I do. I'm deliberate about that. You know, I talked in the earlier trainings about being the guardian of your mind. Whose energy do you want to soak up? Because you can do it through the screen. You can do it in the friends that you surround yourself with. So who else? I always talk about Judi Dench. I love Judi Dench. Particularly there's, you know, like different movies that she's done, but she has a strength in her that always brings to mind that Maya Angelou quote, "She shall not be moved." There is a strength and a wisdom and a beauty and a femininity about Judi Dench that I just love. So I can't look away. I watch her. She's one of my people in my that I have in my orbit. Meryl Streep, absolutely. Brene, yes. So there's other women. There's women that I find, you know, Laurie and I actually a couple of nights ago watched Pretty Woman again. I love Julia Roberts. I just love Julia Roberts. And I love, who else do I love? Let's think. Come on, throw out some names of women that you love. Sandra Bullock is funny. I think she's so funny. And I love people that, you know, have that sense of humor. Cameron Diaz. Yeah. So who are some of the people and what is it about them that you love? There is a word that unfailingly comes up. Blake Lively. I feel like I know the name, but I can't picture who that is. I keep going to the comments and then I get thrown off. What was I saying? I've lost it. They're, you know, they're looking at these women that have a way of being. Oh, that's right. The word that unfailingly comes up in my coaching and my masterminds is unapologetic. When we change our way of being little bit by little bit, it can feel uncomfortable because everybody around you has got to know you for who you are right now. And in our minds, that comes with all the stories and all the bits and pieces, all the messaging that we've taken on. And it can be challenging to try and show up in different ways. But there is a strength in being unapologetic. Now, there is something that I know you will know as well, that women have been conditioned to say sorry for everything. Now I have said this, if you haven't noticed it until now, you will see it everywhere. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry, but, oh, sorry to interrupt, but, sorry I couldn't be there live, but, sorry. Don't be sorry. Stop being sorry. Stop apologizing for who you are. Start to notice and just think, is there a different way I can say this? There are genuinely times in our lives when we need to say sorry. But 99% of the time, it is just an habitual thing that you say, and you get to stop doing it. It gets to be part of your awareness in the woman you are becoming. You get to be unapologetically whoever you want to be. You get to unapologetically decide that you want to do the things you want to do. You get to unapologetically decide you want to have the things you want to have. It is not up to anybody else to decide if that is right or wrong. This is your life. Who is the woman you get to become in order to create the life you want to live? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry I bumped into you. Sorry. Yeah. Deciphering the fakes is difficult for me. That's really interesting. Do you know, I think that this is where we get to trust ourselves and our gut instinct. There's a couple of different tracks that we can take with this. Thank you, Caroline, for saying that, because every time people give me things like this, it opens up a conversation that unfailingly serves everybody. There's two tracks that we can take with something like that. One is that we have created a belief system, and we've created a way of looking at people with a presumption that there is a lot of people who are fake. So if we start from that place with questioning whether or not they're fake, there is a point in which you will find evidence for the fact that they are. We find evidence for whatever we want to see. We find evidence for whatever we want to believe. I talked about this in an earlier video. But if you've been burnt by somebody that you put trust in, and it turned out that they were out of integrity, what they were showing up on the outside wasn't who they really were behind closed doors, then that is a trigger that you get to look at with curiosity and tap back into your beautiful, incredibly intelligent and wise intuition. I am going to trust myself to know the difference. I am going to trust myself to know the difference. Or I am trusting myself to know the difference. Can you say again what Caroline said? It's not in the chat. It is up a little bit higher. So she wrote, deciphering the fakes is difficult. Look what I can do. Deciphering the fakes is difficult for me sometimes. And I think, in this online world, when we're looking at everybody online, it is easy to start presuming the worst of people. And I'm not suggesting, Caroline, that you're doing that, but it is easy to start presuming the worst. And it often comes up around money, and when people start offering things for sale, decide to offer you something and try this. Do you know what? How about you look at it like you wouldn't have anything that you have in your life if somebody didn't sell it to you. And when you bought it, it was because you made a choice to. So in this conversation, we're talking about personal responsibility, and you can just take back that responsibility in, well, I get to choose. It's okay. Thank you for your generosity in offering something to me. I either accept it or I don't. We have lots of triggers around money. And once again, that's a learned behavior. If there's people in your life that are just like, it's like religion, or, if there's people that are just jamming it down your throat in an aggressive way, then you just get to remove that from your space. Click off, unsubscribe, step away. But if it is just that people are saying, look, this is what I offer. If you're interested, it's there for you. Then you have the option to say, that's generous. Thank you for making that available. No, it's not for me right now. Or yes, it is. So it's, I think in this space, you really get to just trust your instincts and know that you are the one in control. You are taking 100% responsibility. Your way of being, your power lies with you. And the minute we do that, it's like taking in, like it's the shoulders back, your spine is straight. It's your way of being. I'm in control here. Yep. I say sorry all the time. Deciphering the fakes is difficult for me sometimes. So I wonder if I've given you an answer there that is supportive, and if not, keep coming, and let's see where we get to. And you know what? once again, you don't have to take my word as gospel. This is not about me being right and somebody, this is about opening the conversation and getting curious and how we decide the way of being that we're going to embody in order us to live the life we want to be living. So I have collected, who do you want to be? Look at this for a list. And I put ticks next to, so ways of being, I actually write them down. And then the ticks next to it are how many people said it. The number one way of being that I hear over and over again, I find fascinating because it's not a word that I use, and it's strong. I want to be strong. I am strong. So if this is a word that is coming up for you, or it's like, yeah, that's something that I want, then the next level is, how will I know that I am? How will I know that I am a strong woman? For me, it's responsibility. It's not giving my power to anybody else. Let me give you some more words. I hope you've got your pen and paper. Now, before we dive into this, I always think about this section of what we're doing, up until tomorrow. I'm going to support you to start putting your, master plan together for those of you that have the workbooks. For those of you that don't, it's just taking what we've done so far and we're going to start putting together your master plan. But this section, it's really about brain dumping. It's like whatever comes up, put it down on paper. And whatever comes up, put it down on paper. There is something in here that I want to start planting into your awareness. And you likely have heard me say it before, but if not, I am are two of the most powerful words in the English language. They are the most powerful words that you can use. So when you say, I am overwhelmed, I am exhausted, I am tired, I'm fed up, I'm angry, I'm anxious, I'm sad, I'm not coping, you build these things into your way of being. Now they can, without fault, blame, guilt, shame, they can become your set point. They can become your set point. So when you try and change out of that, you will find that if that has been a set point until now, you will keep coming back to it. And that's okay, because the more that you practice changing your language, the more it becomes into your awareness, the more you will shift your way of being into a more positive way of being. So we get to catch ourselves when we're saying these things and come up with a different way of speaking. I need a little more sleep at the moment. I could really use a massage. I am committed to coming up with strategies so that overwhelm is no longer present. Can you feel how that is different to saying I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted? Yeah, very different. So when you are writing these beautiful positive words, ways of being that you want to embody, it is incredibly impactful to put I am in front of it. One of the ways that I get people to understand the power of this is there is a fabulous poem by Dr. Maya Angelou. If anybody hasn't come across her work, she has passed now, but there is so much wisdom in her work that I encourage everybody to discover who she is. But she wrote a fabulous poem called Phenomenal Woman. It actually inspired a talk show that I did a couple of years ago and a book about phenomenal women. But Oprah and Maya were very good friends. Oprah recited one of Maya Angelou's poem, Phenomenal Woman, many years ago. And there is a clip on YouTube that I can find for you. And she says, in 1974, when I first started reciting Phenomenal Woman, I didn't believe I was a phenomenal woman. I spoke it into being. Now, what can come up at this moment is for the people that don't love Oprah that go, she's not a phenomenal woman. I don't even like her. It's not about what anybody else thinks about her. It's not about what anybody else thinks about you. It's how you feel in yourself, who you believe yourself to be, the way of being that you are embodying. So grab out your pen and paper. Here are some of the words that other women in my beautiful community have given over the years, and I hope they inspire you, and absolutely you're going to come up with some of your own. Healthier, adventurous. Remember, I am adventurous. I am healthy. I am brave. I am consistent. I am happy. I am joyful. I am growing. I am positive. I am confident. I am calm. I am grateful. I am joyful. I am nurturing. I am giving. Before this, I was stuck. After hearing this, I am seeking ways out to free myself. Yes. Absolutely. That is so, so powerful, Debbie. I had a beautiful member in my last mastermind who was stuck in, I don't even know what I want. I don't even know what I want. Her children had all grown up. She had her elderly mother living with her, and she was just feeling stuck. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. It was repeated. I don't even know what I want. And by the end of the mastermind, she had come up with her own list of 100 things that she wanted that were absolutely accessible and for her. And it was all came down to changing her language and looking. Remember, we all find evidence for what we want to believe. We want to believe I don't know what I want because it gives us permission and validation for why we feel the way we feel. Changing your language is life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing. I am organized. I am productive. I am goal-oriented. I am action-oriented. I am loving. I am generous. I am playful. I am fun. I am carefree. I am stylish. I am energetic. I am fit. I am purposeful. I am radiant. I am feminine. I am courageous. I am brave. I am kind. I am genuine. I am honest. I am inspirational. Yes, you are, Kim. Yes, you are. I am honest. I am centered. I am focused. I am mindful. I think mindless distractions. I think mindlessness is kind of epidemic right now. So becoming mindful, becoming present is something that we get to cultivate as a society. So how do we cultivate that as a society? We start to embody it ourselves and talk about how we are taking back control of our focus. I am a leader, and I would challenge all of you to embody that, because you are leaders in your families, in your friendship circles, in your community, in your work. You get to be role models and leaders. I talk about I have an absolute passion for grassroots feminine leadership. We get to be the change we want to see in the world. We get to embody being compassionate, being loving, being courageous, being bold, being unapologetic, being responsible. I am a role model. Absolutely, Sandra. You are. I am connected. I am creative. Oh, I love this one. I didn't identify as somebody who was creative until my children went to a Steiner school. For those of you that know anything about Steiner education, it's a very creative schooling environment, and it's beautiful, and it awoke this spark in me. But we can be creative in how we dress. We can be creative in how we decorate our homes. We can be creative in drawing, in photography, in ceramics, for those of you that like Canva, we're going to use Canva to do our vision boards. For those of you that are doing them digitally, being creative, playing music. Creativity is the nourishment of life, I believe. Curious. I am clear. I am curious. Such a powerful way of being. I am clear. Everybody, by the time you get through this work and you've got that vision, you will be clear. I am inspiring. That was in there. Thanks, Kim. I am daring. I am magical. Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody describe you as magical? She's so magical. One of the women I listen to online, Melanie Ann Layer, I think she has incredible wisdom to share, but she talks about women as being magic on legs. Who doesn't want to be magic? I want to be magic on legs. Do you want to be magic on legs? I think magic on legs is fun. But what does it look like? How would you know that you are magic on legs? That gets to be fun to think about that. I am clear. So did my dad. Okay. So your dad went to a Steiner school. I wish the whole world was able to go to a Steiner school, a good Steiner school. Love magic. Yeah, me too. The next one is a word that I think needs some exploring, and it's humble. There is a definition of humble that describes humble as being somebody who sees them as lesser than, sees themselves as lesser than. I think humble is one of those words that's thrown around, particularly for women. We are praised for being humble. I would encourage you to get curious and look at the definition of humble and decide whether that is really a good fit for you or not. I've decided that it's not a good fit for me. I have been described as humble a lot, and one of the most impactful coaches in my life, and I give her credit everywhere, Shanda Sumpner, was an incredibly impactful coach in my life, and she's the one that showed me how to, like I've got my own talk shows, I've had incredible financial wins, all sorts of things, and it was through following her very closely and being very closely coached by her. But she said to me, stay humble. And it was something that I understood the embodiment of that. It's like that, what I talked about yesterday. We are all equal, just different. And so that is part of how I really embody that, and I believe that. But there is a definition around humble that no longer is something that I am going to say I am humble. No longer. It's part of my language. I am present. I am motivated. I am outgoing. I am active. I am disciplined. So I had a teacher who was so humble and so confident and unapologetic. I admired the humbleness in her. I genuine rather than humble, perhaps. I am genuine. Yeah, it is the definition of humble that threw me, Kim. So it's not right or wrong. It's just what's right for you. So this is fun. This gets to be fun. We get to take off the cloak of heaviness and just go, who do I want to be? There's this fabulous book called The Power of Fun by Catherine Price. I have a lot of books that I talk about with the women in my community, and there's so much inspiration to be gained from books, but we got so serious. Somewhere along the way, becoming a grown-up became so serious, and it's so hard, and you've got to be doing, and the harder you do life, the more successful you're going to be. How about we get back into being a source of joy and fun and playfulness and inspiration and love? It's those high vibrations. So pump up the music and play in this. This place in here that is your imagination, it is the ultimate playroom. Anything is possible. The coaching call I had yesterday, my client brought up something I've said, but I've said it a lot of times, but then it's not something I've brought up recently. And it is this: when you get to the end of your life and you meet your maker, the divine, the universe, God, whatever that is with you, don't get caught up in who that is. And they say to you, I gave you unlimited potential. What did you do with it? What do you want to say? I think we'll end on that note. If anyone's got any questions, I really would, I encourage you to share whatever's coming up in the comments, because the more you do that, the more you inspire other people. If this is part of your way of being, is I am generous, it is sharing your stories. It is sharing your experiences. It is sharing your wisdom. It's not about making anybody else right or wrong. That is not the conversation in here. This is about being curious and being on a journey of exploration into who is the woman you want to become. Yes, there are parts of you that are absolutely perfect. Yes, you are enough exactly as you are. You are worthy of everything that your heart desires. And you are becoming more. We are always stepping up. Remember, we're growing or we're dying. So this is about becoming more of who you want to be in order to do and have the things that you want. All right, you are worthy. Absolutely. I did a beautiful post. It was an open letter. It was something that I wrote to myself about your enoughness is not up for debate. Actually, Gia, I'll get you to pop that in here so people can access it. Your enoughness is not up for debate. Your enoughness is not determined by anything. It is not determined by the amount of money in the bank, by whether or not you have a glass of wine with dinner, whether or not, the number on your scales, none of that. You were born worthy. You are still worthy. And really embodying that and knowing that gives you this fabulous foundation for becoming more of who you want to become. All right, beautiful souls, have the most beautiful day ahead. Play with this, have fun with this, keep the conversation going. And I will see you again tomorrow, where we're going to bring everything we've done in the first 4 days into your beautiful master plan. If you do want that workbook, it's just $11 for all the stuff. I've talked about it enough. I don't need to go through it anymore. If you haven't got access to that and you want it, it's not too late. I'll get Gia, we'll pop a link in so you can register for that. You are so welcome. Mwah. All right, that's it from me today. So much love, and bye for now.